What's up YouTube? Thanks for looking in. I'm Andy. I'm in West Wales, United Kingdom. This is my astrological forecast, a birth chart for the day of Sunday, the 11th of February 2018. All my times are UK times because that's where I am, GMT or UTC. So after 3 days in Sagittarius, the moon entered Capricorn in the wee small hours of this morning, 2:20 AM UK time. Things are more formal, people are more strict, people are more exacting and tend to demand more of each other. It's important not to be put in a position where you feel as if you're not good enough, and it's also important, as well as, fending that off from anyone else who might try to do it, and it's only a might, it's also important to fend it off from yourself just by being positive. Sure, have things gone wrong, but things must have gone well at some time in the past. Everyone is really trying their best most of the time, things go wrong, things go awry, it can't really be helped. The things we put our trust in do let us down somewhere, that's the way of it. But, be positive about yourself, because the other good thing about the really good thing, if you will, about a Capricorn moon is that you can put your feet down firmly, you can be a lot more sure-footed, because goats are like that. If you watch a goat walking around, they won't step on anything unless they're sure, and they can get down very steep cliffs and all kinds of steep slopes and difficult terrain, but they always want to put their feet out first to find out what happens. So, put your best foot forward, I suppose, we could say. Apogee also comes today at 14:15 in UK time, 2:15 this afternoon, and that is when the moon is opposite the perigee at the furthest point she can get from the Earth in her ambit, as it were, in her orbit that she goes round. Because it's an egg-shaped orbit, basically, so sometimes it's that bit closer, like the perigee on the supermoons that we've been having, and today is the apogee at 15 minutes past 2. So at the moment we've got a Capricorn moon. She is 18.0%, bang on 18% as we speak, and this is a live chart I'm looking at here, so it's got to be, I think it's got to be right. It was wrong one day, but that was because I changed the page. So it's 18.0% full. The new moon's coming up on the 15th at 5 minutes past 9. Bit more about that later, because there's an eclipse coming up, and I'll have a quick look through next week in a second. Okay, but today's alignment: Mercury square Jupiter, Moon conjunct Saturn. There we go. People have this strong need for security when Mercury conjuncts Saturn. Conjuncts can bring good things out of things, but there can be, even though it's the opposite of an opposition, it can be quite exacting and quite demanding, particularly when Capricorn's in the mix, which it is. So people have that need for security. Be serious, basically, if you want to sort of be appreciated by other people today. Be serious, take things seriously, take them seriously, have a good think, try and be shrewd as well. People generally are looking for practical answers to problems on a day like this. That's just kind of the way it's going. Now, Mercury, which is not at all retrograde, is square Jupiter today as well. So there are important communications. Communication is always important, isn't it? It's part of being a human being. But today that seems to be increased. Moral, philosophical, religious things are likely to be coming up. That's the kind of, just the way it's generally going. Jupiter has a way of promising a bit more than it can deliver, though. So, you just never know. I'm not saying things are likely to get overblown. That's not how it works. But just, evaluate carefully. It's always good to do that. And also, we might have some international news. There could be big international meetings, that kind of thing. Well, there will be, because there always are every day, everywhere in the world. We're likely to get some news from a thing like that today, anyway. The sun itself is sextile Uranus, favouring innovation, quick thinking, and being willing to accept new things, unusual conditions. That all helps too. We tend to look at the moon alignment, because we tend in astrology to think that's the one that has the most effect. But our sun sign is, that's our birth sign. Like if you're a Leo, that means you were born during that time in August, for example. Okay, in the biodynamic cycle today, under a Capricorn moon, it is a root day, not surprising, and you really want to be sure-footed today, so put those spiritual roots down deep, and if you're out in the garden, work on things to do with roots. Today I intend to plant some potatoes if the weather stays nice, and it's nice weather. I can see the seasons, the cycle, the year beginning to turn. It was actually not quite broad daylight, but nearly light when I started doing this morning, and that's the first time really since last year, except for a couple of days ago when I was so late it was the middle of the day anyway, but there you go. Right, a quick look at spaceweather.com, and then we'll have a quick look at the eclipse that's coming up as well. Right, spaceweather.com, sunspot number 2699 is divided in two. They've moved apart a bit. It seems to be growing. It is directly facing the Earth this weekend. That doesn't mean that the connection is immediate. You know, if there's a solar flare or anything like that, it does take time to travel through the universe because the sun is a lot further away than the moon. So the sunspot actually stalled yesterday and wasn't doing anything at all. So they kind of changed their predictions. But today they've had another look. Yep, still facing us very much, and it will be all weekend. But there's a strong possibility on the 15th or the 16th, that's later in the week because it's the 11th today, so that's another 4 or 5 days' time, a strong possibility of G1 class geomagnetic storms. Those are the mildest ones. There's nothing dangerous about it. It can play into spiritual work though, and I believe it can play into finely tuned electronics as well. Possibly worth thinking about. The solar wind speed at the moment is 328.7 kilometers a second, and the proton density is 4.1. I'll give the solar flares out, I still don't understand it. The 6-hour maximum B2 0535 UTC, that is UK time, today February the 11th. The 24-hour B40109 UTC, February the 11th. So there we are, I've given it out. If you keep doing these things, eventually you start understanding them, and maybe someone will comment and tell me what it means or something. That would be fantastic. There is still a coronal hole. It's fairly wide, but they're small, you know, but there's kind of two small ones that have formed into one, and it's fairly wide, so there is solar wind coming from that. That's all playing into what we're talking about later in the week, because it is going to take that much time to reach us. Now, speaking of later in the week, let's just have a quick, because it's Sunday, let's have a quick look through the week. Oh, you're trying to move the pages, they go wrong, don't they? Never mind. Right, so we've got a Capricorn moon today. Already, we've got Apogee coming up at 2:15, 14:15 UK time, and then on the 13th, Tuesday the 13th, the moon enters Aquarius, where she stays until the new moon and the partial solar eclipse that are coming up this week as well. So Aquarius sets the scene for that. That's what we're coming towards. That is at 15:11 UK time on Tuesday the 13th, so 11 minutes past 3 in the afternoon, and then we enter Pisces at 2:41 a.m. on Friday morning. Now, what's the void like? The void, of course, for that is from 9:05 at night, so it's about 5.5 hours by the look of it. And let me see, yeah, but we're void, of course, nearly all day on Tuesday the 13th, so that's worth thinking about as well. Anyway, the Pisces moon coming up on Friday, a bit more emotional, and it chances to be a bit of an emotional full moon. Let's have a look at what they're saying about the solar eclipse and the new moon. Sorry. So this is the February 15th and 16th new moon and solar eclipse in Aquarius, representing a positive turning point and a breath of fresh air. We've all had to do a lot of releasing and letting go, and that so far seems to have been the theme of 2018. How much can you kind of let go of, and how much can you free yourself up by doing that? Now there's a bit less of this sudden urge to clean and clear things. There's a bit of retrospective about that. It chances to be emotional. But the bottom line is we'll be that much closer to our goals. You know, all that letting go was for a reason. Now we get to perform, if you like. So I'm just looking up the times because I want to be sure of everything I give out here. So it's happening in 27 degrees Aquarius in the tropical zodiac. And then there's the partial solar eclipse as well. The time and date of which, oh dear, I'm so annoyed when I lose these things. Right, oh gosh, let's have a look. Okay, I'm just going to have to stop talking for 2 seconds to have a look at this. What does that mean? Yes, right, got it. 2051 on Thursday the 15th. That's when we have the partial solar eclipse. The reason I wanted to check that is we will not be able to see it in UK because that is after dark here, so you know the sun is not really in the picture anyway. But it's going on, it's coming up, it's happening. It reminds us that the cycle is going on, the world is turning, everything keeps happening. And if, like me today, you've woken up to a day that just looks a little bit more bright and a little bit more spring-like than we've had recently, that's great. I hope you have a beautiful day in it, my friends. Don't forget to like and subscribe. More videos coming up all the time. Keep it Twig, brother, keep it here. I'll see you again very soon. Have a beautiful Sunday, the 11th of February, my friends. Bye-bye.